Well, we're going to be talking about the theory of evolution as a religion on this edition of the Tomorrow program with a university instructor of hard science. His name is Arnold Mendez, and he has about 400 students at any particular time teaching chemistry, and yet has decided that he can't believe in evolution. You're with a major American university. Arnold Mendez, why do the people believe in evolution as a faith? Doesn't it have enough scientific data to support it?
It doesn't really have enough scientific data to support it. If it was like any other science, it would be like 4 + 4 is 8, and everybody would believe it and everybody would agree with it. The problem with evolution is that it is not based on science. It is based on slanting of the data and on misconceptions and on preconceived notions. So evolution is really not a science. I like to term it a philosophy.
Where's the reality? What is real science then, in your view? You're an instructor of chemistry. You told me you have many teaching assistants, you have hundreds of students, you teach the hard science of chemistry to chemistry majors and other science majors. You send them through this major university program, which most people would, or a lot of people would recognize this university in another part of the United States. Why is not evolution science?
Because evolution is not based on facts. Evolution is a philosophy, and I think that part of the reason that it is not a true science is because evolution cannot be falsified. What I mean by that is that if you bring new data into the evolutionary circle that contradicts evolutionary principles, then scientists are not going to accept that data. Are they going to manipulate the data? I like the term evolution sort of like jelly. It squirms and it squiggles, and you really can't put a handle on it from a data point of view. It's based on certain principles that are not correct.
Oh, the sciences are supposed to be based on the scientific method.
Right.
And as I learned in high school, and everybody that goes to high school has to learn, that is where you have a set of data and then you hypothesize some principle about it, and then you create a theory, and then you test your hypothesis against experiments and hard data, and then if it's wrong, you either change your theory to reflect the new information, or you throw it out and say, no, the whole thing's wrong and I was wrong to start with. And so the theory never becomes a law, a reality. Well, after 150 years, is evolution a law, or is it a theory, or is it really been disproven?
It's not a fact. It's certainly not a theory, because a theory, once again, you can falsify. I believe that evolution has been disproven in through many principles, through many processes. The reason that it's not rejected outright is because the ramifications exist for what do we put in its place. And so evolution will never be discarded, because if we discard evolution, if we get rid of evolution, we have to have something in its place. Science people abhor a vacuum. So if evolution is not how we got here, then how did we get here? And you've got to answer that question if you get rid of evolution.
The thought in most of our culture is, well, God made us,
right?
Which is a religious answer, or let's say a faith answer. It's a confidence,
right? And
then, of course, you would say that there's a basis in the rocks, in the history of the universe, to say that that's a correct assessment of the physical reality as opposed to evolution. But back to the scientific method, you as a scientist then, what in the scientific method is itself violated consistently with evolution?
One of them, first of all, is, for example, spontaneous generation. The spontaneous generation says that that living things come from dead things. This was a very popular theory back in the 1500s, the Middle Ages, 1600s, until it was debunked by Louis Pasteur when he did his work, because he was trying to keep wine from fermenting or going bad, and he developed the principle of pasteurization. And pasteurization simply says that things don't spontaneously generate, as it was commonly believed. And if you look at evolution and you go back to the first cause, in other words, where did that first spark of life come from? You've got to admit that somewhere in the distant past, whatever aging system you use, whatever dating system you use, somewhere in the ancient past, living things came into being from dead matter.
Or from inorganic.
Inorganic matter.
Yeah.
And every scientific experiment that we've ever used proves that living things only come from living things.